Hey, welcome back. We're going to jump on in. The only boring part will be right now saying please like, react, subscribe, hit the bell button if you're on YouTube, comment, share, all that good things. It lets me know and other people know you watch this. And importantly, it lets the algorithm know you're watching. All right. So this episode is on the impact you can make in 3 seconds and even less than 3 seconds. And so I'm going to tell a story time. And I also did math on this envelope of how many 3-second moments you have in your lifetime. So, all right, I'm going to jump right in. This story took place in 2016. So in 2016, I found myself very, very just kind of at the end of my ropes, depressed, and it was so bad I ended up in Vanderbilt hospital, and I was in the detox unit because there's no other beds available. But I was at the end of my ropes. I just everything had gone wrong that past year, and it was just situationally just such a horrible, like awful time in my life, aside from the wonderful people I met during that time period. Anyways, so I went into the hospital on Thursday, got out on Tuesday. And since I was in the detox unit, their group therapy typically was on the 12 steps, which I know are fabulous. I know people who use the 12 steps who most people align that with alcoholism and narcotics, but I know a lot of people who have different ways of doing a group stuff that use the 12 steps. I know they're very good overall. However, in my case, they were good, but I think it was a Monday or Tuesday, because I didn't do groups on the weekend. I asked someone, nurse, tech, whatever, in the detox unit. I said, hey, can you take me to the mood unit so that I can, get a group with, what I'm dealing with, which was, depression and how to handle stress and stuff like that. And so I went over to that unit, and I just came in, was myself, and was just like, hey, everybody, how you doing? And I went in. They had the group. Some people talked during it. Yeah, I didn't. I sat down, just was present, and then left. So when I got out of inpatient on Tuesday, they set me up for doing outpatient from starting the next day on Wednesday. And outpatient, I think it was like 12 to 3 or something, where it was only 3 hours. And so with outpatient, you're not actually staying at the hospital. You're at home, and you come for those hours. And the way it works, it's not like a class that you sign up for. It's not like, okay, you start Monday, you get out on Friday. It's, for me, I got out of the hospital on Tuesday, so I went in on Wednesday. And then the length of time really is how long the social workers think that, you've worked through the issue. Some people are there for a couple days. Some people are there for a week and a half, maybe longer. For me, it was Wednesday to Wednesday. So the last day of your time being there. So my last day was Wednesday. The social workers take this rock and they write a word on it. And mine was accept, because I was accepting my situation and I was trying to really work on resolving it. And so they take the rock and then they give it to the group. And initially, I did not think I'd like group therapy. I was like, totally like, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to get anything out of it. I don't want to have to do it. But it was wonderful. So if you're ever considering doing group therapy, you get to meet a lot of normal people, and even less normal than you think, because I was in Nashville, so I was with like famous people. And you get to be with these people who have the same issues you do. They're from all walks of life. So as I was saying, the last day of the group therapy that I was in outpatient, they did the rock ceremony, and the seats were kind of in this U shape. And then the social workers like here. I was like here. And so the rock kind of went around, skipped me, and then ran around to the other end. And you're supposed to say well wishes and just nice things people said to me. The first girl who got the rock, that was her first day. So it's kind of wondering what the heck she was going to say, because we'd only known each other for 3 hours, but she was just beautiful in saying that I really made an impact on her life in 3 hours, and that she feels more courageous to talk about her faith with people she doesn't know. And then it just kept going around. I ended up in tears just with these first people, and people saying how insightful I was and just complimenting me. And it was beautiful. And the girl to my left had been there the whole time I was there. We're the ones who we've stayed in touch. And she was just beautiful, complimenting me on friendship, and really proving to her that what friendship really is. Very beautiful. And then the girl on my right. So this is the 3-second moment I want to talk about. So the girl on my right was also her first day in outpatient, but I did remember seeing her in the mood unit when I went to that group. But the same with the first girl in the group. I was like, what's she gonna say? And so the rock I passed to her from my friend on my left, and she just looks at me and she goes, "You have no idea what you did," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." For the second before she continues talking, and she said, "When you came into that group unit, or group in the unit, like inpatient, and you just came in with so much confidence and joy, and you just came in and you left." And she said, "When you left, 7 of us stayed behind and said, we want to be like that." And so as she's, going through what she's saying, I'm, I was already in tears. The tears are even heavier now, because it was beautiful. And so I've told this story a lot to people, because I'm just like, that was 3 seconds. And I've said 3 seconds just to give it like, I don't know, it sounds good at 3 seconds. But honestly, that did not take 3 seconds, I don't think. I literally walked in, "Hey, everybody, how you doing?" It's like 1 or 2. And so anyways, but realizing, okay, that's all I did. And the impact I had for 7 people to really stay after and have a discussion about just my entrance to me, which was nothing. I just was being myself. And so I've talked to people about that. And personally in my life, I've had people do stuff for me and they have no idea what they're doing. For instance, I have a friend who, when I was 16, is when I was diagnosed with the illness that I have, because I was super sick with it. And I had friends who had kind of checked out. And it was hard. And my mom and I were at my church outside in the pavilion, and we were sitting there, and I was just feeling all alone. I was feeling rejected, like all these things, and really feeling isolated from my friends. And this friend of mine, he's actually the one I did my first video with, that we're trying to work out getting it up and going on the interwebs. But yeah, so I was 16. He's younger than me, so he's either 14 or 15. But he was in high school, at the high school that's attached to our church, and he just, my mom and I are just sitting there, and my mom knows how horrible I'm feeling, and he just comes running over, and he just is like, "Hey guys, how you doing?" And so he just comes and just, casually saying hi to friends that he sees, across the way. And he did that and left. I mean, he probably couldn't stay too long. He was in high school, he's at school. And like, I actually did a recording of this video before, and I just started crying when I was talking about this, because, excuse me. Because of, he had no idea what he did. He had no idea. Like, I could have just been there, having lunch with my mom. He had no idea what was going on in my life at the time. But it's meant so much to me. And, I've messaged him over the years and thanked him for that. And So really, I mean, the emphasis in this story is you have no idea what you do and just very minimal things. And so what I did was I did some math here. And by the way, all this stuff, I make jewelry and rosaries and stuff. So that's what that is. I'm doing a market this weekend. And so anyways, all right. So I wanted to just quick, like mathematically break down how many of these moments you have in your life, just so you have a number. So I'm giving the average age of 85. I know a lot of people who have unfortunately died younger. And I have people I know who've died older. So I negated 2 years. At first I negated 7 because that's, age of reason. But then I remembered I had a babysitter when I was 2, 3, 4. And somehow I don't know what I did. I had such an impact on her life. She named her firstborn child after me. I don't know how. But anyways, so all right, so 83 years. So, okay, we're going to go through this real quick. 1 year is 365 days, average, without leap years. All right, and then we got 24 hours in a day. I'm going to gate a good amount of sleep, 8 hours. I know a lot of people who don't get that much. 8 hours, and then 2 hours for like waking up and going to bed, and hopefully you're interacting with your spouse if you're doing this. But I'm going to negate 10, just a generous. Okay, you got a 14-hour day. All right, so 365 days by times 83 years, so that's 30,295 days. All right, so multiplying that by 14-hour days, that gives you 424,000 hours in your lifetime. It's got a little more than that. And so, of course, an hour is 60 minutes, a minute 60 seconds, so an hour has 3,600 seconds. So multiplying that by the amount of hours you have. In your life, you have pretty much 1.5 billion seconds in 83 years. So, and in 3-second moments, dividing that by 3, you have 508,956,000 3-second moments. But as I said, it probably took less than 3 seconds. So my point here, obviously, is just talking about like, man, you've got such like the time you can make an impact on somebody's life in such a minimal amount of time is phenomenal. It's amazing. And let's see. I was watching Father Mike Schmitz being interviewed by Chris Stefanik. It just sounds like a group name, like a band or something. His name. He's a Catholic speaker. No, I was listening to Chris Stefanik interview Father Mike Schmitz, and they were talking about the final judgment and when you're going to be able to see the effects you've had in everybody's life. My life has been very hard. It's been very hard. In fact, my friend I was speaking about the coming to me in the pavilion said to me recently, we've become close over the past couple of years. To give you an idea of it, if you don't know me, he said, Kristen, most people who've gone through what you've gone through in life are either strung out on drugs or dead. And it's accurate. I've had a very difficult life, a lot of struggles, and by the grace of God, I have had these consolations in that in most people's lives, they don't know what these 3-second moments have an impact. Like they don't know how these 3-second moments have an impact. They're going to have to wait to the final judgment to see these things. And by the grace of God, I have been able to have people talk to me and tell me in these short period of times what I've done for them. And it's been such a grace to have these consolations. Talking to my friend again, John. And I'm just, I said to him, I was like, I know a lot of people who suffer. I know a lot of people who's been in trials. I've been in these hospitals. All these people are struggling with similar things I'm struggling with. And, I was just kind of like, why don't they get the consolations too? Because this is me and friendship and wanting people to have the best. And so I'm like, why don't they get them too? And I was like, why do I? And and he's like, well, what do you get from them? And obviously, I get strength and whatnot. And I think he said, Kristen, it's probably because you couldn't survive without them, which is true. I couldn't survive without Jesus Christ, and I know how cliche that sounds, very cliche. But if I didn't have Jesus in my life, if I didn't have him, with the fact that he suffered and redeemed me by his suffering, I don't think I know I would not have a purpose to suffering. And the purpose I have for suffering is I believe that all suffering has redemptive value. If suffering did not have redemptive value, then Jesus's torture and death would have just been a Roman torture and a Roman execution. He would not have redeemed us through that sacrifice of his suffering, his way of the cross, getting to Calvary, and then dying on the cross for us. So I believe all suffering has redemptive value, in that Christ calls us to lift up our cross and follow him. And I believe if we take our cross, we take our suffering, and we unite it with his cross. We have no power on our own, but if we take this suffering and we give it to Jesus and unite it with him, that it does have redemptive value. And for me, I, by the grace of God, realized that when I was 10 years old. And so I know the importance of one soul. I know the importance of helping with suffering, but also this beautiful gift I've had over these past couple of years, being in and out of hospitals. It's just so beautiful that these people have said what they've said to me, and I've got notebooks of where people have written to me, like the impact I've had on their life while I've been in these treatment facilities and stuff. And it's just so beautiful, and I'm so grateful to God that I've had these opportunities with these consolations. And but I think the point of this, obviously, that is just so that to be mindful of every moment, and you never know what you're doing and how it impacts someone, as simple as it may be. I'm in my Franciscan fraternity this past gathering. One of the people at my table, she's an older woman. They're all older than me. I'm like the youngin' baby in the group in the fraternity. But she says she always looks forward to coming so she can get a hug from me. And I mean, I've talked about my hugs in other episodes. There's an art to the Christian hug, and people go out of their way to get it sometimes. But then also smiling. I've had another fraternity member just say, I love coming. I always look forward to coming because I get to see your smile on your face. And I can't remember if I just said this or not, but I was in another treatment facility, and this woman that was there, mood unit, she just looked at me. She's like, how can you smile every single day? And the only answer I had was Jesus. And I know it sounds cliche, but just like I said, this episode is just to open your eyes to the very minimal stuff you can do that's positive, and just smiling. I know that this is cliche, but I think it's precious. If someone doesn't have a smile, give them yours. And the amount of time I'm just like I'm shopping, of course it's getting close to Christmas now, and I'm in stores and I just smile at random people I don't know. And I like doing it because I like seeing them smile, because it's usually, I don't know how many people I've smiled to that haven't smiled back. It's usually a triggering thing. So anyways, yeah. So watch your time, watch your impact. And yeah, your negative can be impactful as well. And I'd say with the negative stuff, if you realize you have done something negative, apologize and ask for forgiveness. As my mama always said, 4-step apology. I'm sorry. No buts. No buts about it. I'm sorry. I'll try not to do I'm sorry it was wrong. I'll try not to do it again. Will you please forgive me? I've done it my whole life since I was a kid. And it was a good one, Mama. And oh yeah, so I make jewelry. So I make jewelry. I make rosaries. I got earrings, and I'm gonna market this weekend. So I'm gonna start busting stuff out. But I wanted to make sure to get this video up this week. So, all right. Well, y'all, God bless you. And as always, Jesus loves you, and I do too.